हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, विश्वास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, विश्वास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। जब भी निकलता घर से तुम साथ चलते हो, धूप भरी राहों में बादल से ढलते हो। जब भी निकलता घर से तुम साथ चलते हो, धूप भरी राहों में बादल से ढलते हो। यात्रा सुखद ही होगी, यात्रा सुखद ही होगी, विश्वास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। जो दी वो खुशियाँ लुटाता हूँ, तेरा नाम रूप गुण में सबको बताता हूँ। तुमने मुझे जो दी वो खुशियाँ लुटाता हूँ, तेरा नाम रूप गुण में सबको बताता हूँ। रोशन हो सबके दिल ये, रोशन हो सबके दिल ये आभास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर एक मेरे है ये दिल गीत गाता है, सब प्रेम से रहे ये सरगम सुनाता है। हर एक मेरे है ये दिल गीत गाता है, सब प्रेम से रहे ये सरगम सुनाता है। जन्नत बने जहाँ ये, जन्नत बने जहाँ ये शुभ भाव रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, विश्वास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है।
Om Shanti, dearest brother Eric. Welcome to Avekti Parivar today, and welcome Avekti Parivar to brother Eric's special sharing about love. And as an example of our love for you, brother Eric, for being our sweetest, most favorite brother, we have some flowers for you.
Oh,
These
gee.
flowers because you give us so many
Gee,
flowers.
thank you.
Okay. Om
That's so
Shanti.
special. Thank you. So special to be welcomed by you. You are our favorite brother in many, many forms. We saw you blooming like a flower in the last few years, and congratulations for being who you are and being such a beautiful gift to the whole Brahmin family. I think, when people, I'll speak slowly for the translator, but I went for a walk and there were some beautiful flowers in the gardens, and I would put my nose into it, you know? And when you see a flower, beautiful, you want to get close to it. When we see you, Adibai, we want to get close to you to take your fragrance of love. So congratulations for being such a beautiful, loving, fragrant, and beautiful flower. And we've seen you blooming over the years. I don't know when you're going to stop, but I think you're going to become a gigantic flower, the biggest flower in Baba's garden. So congratulations. I'm very honored you're introducing me today. So, dear brothers and sisters, I'm obedient. Didi had the thought yesterday, and if you look at the drama, and I was thinking, didn't read the Merli last night or today. And then I went to bed and I thought, I wonder what the Merli will be all about tomorrow. So I had a peek and I saw the title about love. And I thought, Baba, you're really naughty. You're playing with us. He's really playing with us, isn't it? So that's why I like to call him Drama Baba. So we have Shiv Baba, we have Brahma Baba, but we have also Drama Baba. And Drama Baba is, hello, brother. And Drama Baba is really playing with us. And so, according to Drama Baba, we're going to talk about the power of love. And it's not just me going to talk, I'm going to make you work a little bit, if that's okay. So you may want to have a pen and pencil or a computer or phone, but I'm going to make you think a little bit. And I'm going to write a few questions that I found very, very useful. And I know 1 hour is very short to really think deeply about all the aspects connected to love. And for me, I know Baba is asking us a lot, right? He's asking us to be very pure, perfect. He's asking us to be like God. I mean, it's not a small thing. Just asking to be like him. And I don't know for you, but for me, I find that in some aspects, I'm doing better than others. But in the chapter of love, my fortune was that I took birth in a way in my Brahmin life, mostly because of love. And I was very fortunate to be able to experience the love from Daddy Prakashmani and the love of Moini Didi, of course, very different type of love. But Moini Didi has been, like our spiritual mother for 40 years. I had a Lokik mom for only 14 years. My Lokik mother passed away when I was 14. So my real mothers are really spiritual. And I was very fortunate to meet Dadi Prakashmani in Montreal, 1984, when she came. And we were just a few Brahmins. And today you wonder, how did she come to so many places? And there were so few Brahmins. And she stayed in very simple apartments with a lot of stairs, very simple accommodation. Like today, we would never accept to welcome her in such simple places. And when I saw Daddy, I was sitting on the floor and then she passed by me and she went to sit on the gaddi. So I saw her from the back at the beginning. And we were told that I was very naive. I was maybe a few months in Gyan, just a little baby. And we were told in the early days many things about Golden Age. And we used to believe everything on the first degree, So Baba says, well, which is true, he says the bodies, because they are so pure, they will have natural fragrance. You won't need deodorant and all the perfume, right? Adi, do you put perfume now or cologne? Not yet. I put a lot. I like it. Moididi knows it and she offers me bottles sometimes. But she knows in Golden Age, no Christian Dior, no Versace, nothing. The bodies will be naturally fragrant. And then I thought, oh, that would be nice. The bodies would be so pure. So when Daddy passed by me, I smelled roses. So my thought was, oh, look at that. She's so pure. Her body smell like roses. But I never knew, I didn't know at the time that in India they put rose water. So someone told me, Eric, you're Buddha. She doesn't smell roses. She put rose water. Or little Mohini, who was with her, put rose water. Oh, really? I thought that was her natural smell. But when she turned around and she sat on the Getty, I remember my first thought was, wow, that's how I want to be. That's who I want to be. That was my first thought. I want to be like her. And I just asked God, is there a masculine version of that? Or is it only coming? And it's like you like a dress and you say, I like that dress, but do you have it for men or is it just for women? So when I saw Daddy G, I thought, I want to be like her. But male version will be better for me. But if it's not available, okay, I would take that version. So just to give you an idea that for me, I always believed in love. And maybe because I was attracted by the love from Baba when we were in Madhuban. And at the time I would always sit on the floor, for the first many Murlis. I would try to be as close as possible to the stage. And in Om Shanti Bhavan, we could see Baba very, very close. And I used to have tears and tears, and I would be sitting there and thinking, this is my Baba. He's such loving. Look at his smile. And I was in love, really with him badly. And I could feel, how is this love possible? I want to be like this. I want to be like him. But then Maya was laughing, thinking, yes, 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 come here. So then drama, service meetings, clash of sanskars, family, my own sanskars. And I thought, okay, I want to be loving, but there's a but, right? And every time Baba, like today's Murli is so powerful, isn't it? And the way Baba connects love with self-respect is exactly what I want to share with you, because this is the love I understand today. That love should come from that self-respect. Because every other type of love we have felt or we have searched for was always a love coming from a little form of selfishness. So lack of self-respect means I want to gain something from others. Respect, love. And I found out that for me, when I was asking myself why I don't feel lots of love for that particular soul, or that one, or that one, very often it was because those souls were not giving me much except trouble most of the time, or complication, or nothing special. And I realize it's so easy to love someone that gives you something: attention, respect, praise, happiness, beauty, attraction. This is easy to love when there's attraction, right? But when there's repulsion, it's not easy to love. And I totally agree when Baba says that self-respect is the foundation for that inner contentment. And that will attract respect and love and will allow me to have good wishes for others. So yesterday, Moni Didi was sharing that when I shared in Peace Village, I didn't know Moni Didi was listening. So I was very free and being a little bit silly. And I thought, it's okay, I don't know. But when she met me in the evening, she said, I liked what you said. I said, what? Are you listening? My heart went, oops, what did I say? But I'm glad that it was okay. But I think one story that she liked, and it was the biggest lesson for me in the last many years. And it's to realize that maybe the greatest service I think we can do is when we're not aware that we're serving, right? If I'm trying to be loving, maybe it's not totally natural. It's okay to make effort. But sometimes we are something that we don't even know. And that's what people benefit from. And my experience of love has been very touching that in the last few years, particularly at work, and I shared it many times, Daddy Janki told me your consciousness at work should be the same as your consciousness at the center. And it really made me think, what does she mean? What is different? Why is she telling me my consciousness at work should be the same as it is at the center? So I had to think, what am I doing differently at work? And this would be maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And then I started to think, I should stop saying, I'm going to work. And maybe I should think, I'm going to serve. And when I'm in the office, when I'm with people, I should be thinking, I'm not working, I'm serving. So that would be the same as the center. I don't work at the center. We're serving for Baba's service. And so I started that work to change a lot of things. And I felt that my only duty at work was to sit. Yes, I know what to do professionally, so not too much effort. But thinking whoever comes in the office, I have to serve that soul. Not by giving knowledge, never. Not by giving them point of light or even Toli blessing, although I gave lots of Toli blessing, but just to really serve them through love, which is, it has to be professional, so you cannot hug everyone coming in the office. So love will become respect, empathy, listening, cooperation, support. And I realized love took so many forms at work, but it was love. Because I couldn't share Baba's Gyan. That's not the proper space to do that. I couldn't share, flyers or whatever. I'm a journalist, so I have to be careful. But I could share love. And I found ways in my career in the last many years to really check myself and say, how much do I really love those I work with? And some were very easy to love, but there was one soul, and he was a very important journalist at work. He was an anchor, so, a show person in front of the camera all the time. Very charismatic personality, but very challenging. Very, very challenging. And I hope he's not going to, even if he listens, he knows me and he knows our story. But he sometimes feels very proud to say to many people, he says, I think I'm the only one in CBC who succeeded in making Eric annoyed or making Eric upset. You think I'm the only one who managed to make Eric upset at work. He takes pride of this as a joke, it's jokingly. Yeah, because I did lose a little bit my temper sometimes. Slightly, big for me. For them, nothing. But for me was, oh, Eric, you were not patient. You were upset. You were upset. And you said something not good. But I worked on that relationship a lot. And most people didn't want to work for long term with him. Very often after a while, they would say, oof, too complicated. And so the management told me, you don't have to. If you don't mind to work with him a little bit, but whenever you want, we can change. I said, no, I like him. I couldn't say I love him, but I said, yeah, I like him. And we became such close friends. But through work, I had to apply Baba's knowledge, see the quality, see him as a soul. He's my brother. He's Baba's child. I had to practice all the thing Baba is teaching us. And the relationship grew and grew and grew and grew. And I didn't realize, honestly, I didn't realize that I think I became his best friend, one of the most important person for him in his life, in his life today. And so when we were working during COVID time, we decided to do a very unique series. And we wanted to follow 10 or 12 individuals for 1 year, just to see how COVID will impact their life. And there was one person that this journalist knew. He was one of his friends. Very, very nice fellow, a kind of philosopher, thinker, very spiritual person. And he was the head of an organization that deals with a lot of leaders in Quebec, in the province where I live. So he works with CEOs of companies, big directors, human resources people, bank people. So we filmed him for 1 year. So we would go on a regular basis. But he only knew I was a television producer. He didn't know anything about Brahma Kumaris. He didn't know anything about my own spiritual life. I had to be professional. But I would go every time to his place, to his workplace, and we would spend time, filming. And when you're filming, you're quite demanding. Can you please do this? Oh, can you please do it again? Oh, can you please do it again? And he could see me interacting with the cameraman and the journalist. I didn't notice I was me, I didn't pay attention, but I was myself. And I know I tend to be very, hugging person. So I would often, hold my cameraman. He would see me hugging the journalist all the time. He didn't say anything. And so we filmed him for 1 year. We did the documentary and we aired the documentary. And I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, he was putting together a series of lectures for his business people. And he wanted to bring them to a more spiritual level. So he told all these CEO people, he says, I think we should talk about love. And everyone said, oh, love? I think we talk about respect, about management, about self-management, love at work. I don't know. So most of his regular lecture, those who give lectures, they all declined. And they say, I don't feel comfortable talking about love in a business environment. They say, it's not my thing. But they had announced it, that there will be a special lecture on love. They just didn't have who will be the one giving the lecture. And I think they were a little bit desperate in the office. And many people told me the same story. And at some point, he said, oh, I know who we're going to invite. And everybody said, so who are you going to invite? We're going to invite Eric Larest. And I said, who? Who is this guy? Nobody knew me, of course. I said, why? Why do you want to invite him? And this man said, I don't know. He just emanates love. Every time we see him, we just feel so much love from this guy. We should invite him. So I got a call from his assistant who was almost apologizing, saying, I don't know what happened to my boss, but he's wondering if you could talk about love in the context of business relationships. I said, sure, I'm happy to do that. But they didn't know at all I was BK. They didn't Google me, which was a bad mistake from them. So they said, oh, you would be willing to talk about it. And so they invited me as a television producer, not as a yogi. And then I said, yeah, sure, I'd be happy. It was so nice to meet with this man, and I know about his group. It's lovely. Yeah, I can come and talk about love at work because that's what I practice. And so he called me a week later saying, Eric, we just Googled you, but you talk about love all the time. I said, yeah, I thought that's why you're inviting me. They said, no, we invited you because you express love, not because you give lectures. And so that was very touching. When Baba says you are the message, then I understood that if you try to be loving, it's one thing. But if you're truly loving, that's what touched them very, very much. So I felt now there was a pressure on me to be loving all the time. So I thought, oh, I don't know. I didn't realize. So anyway, I went to talk to the group. And I don't know, there was a natural connection. I talk about love. I shared my own experience of transforming my relationships at work with love. And many of them were moved to tears. They enjoyed, and they say, we want more. We want more. So I came once, twice, 3 times. Then they invited me to give a retreat, a second retreat. And then they say, we want more. And I jokingly said, I don't know. Well, why don't you come to India with me? Okay. I said, no, that was a joke. No, we're coming. And we could have brought 50 people. Honestly, 50 wanted to come. But we said, oh, okay, let me think now. How do we bring a group to Madhuban? And I checked with Call of the Time. And he said, well, let's start with 20, so otherwise it will be a French-Canadian Call of the Time in Madhuban. So 18 ended up coming to Madhuban. And they really, really enjoyed that tremendously, very, very deeply. And to finish that story, and then I'll make you work a little bit. But what was very touching for me was this particular journalist, and I'm very, very close to him now. We're very, very close friend, and we share very deeply many things. This organization, it's called the House of Leaders. They were doing their annual retreat, not annual conference, if you want, congress. And they invited this journalist and me to come, but we missed one email. We didn't know why they were inviting us. So we thought they were inviting us to be in the audience. And I didn't really want to go. But when we arrived, they say, wow, you're just on time because you have to be on stage now. I say, what? What do you mean I have to be on stage? I thought he invited me as a participant. And the journalist, he thought this is a kind of network thing. And he thought he was inviting me to be his friend. And the game was you bring a friend and you introduce a friend to another person. So when we found ourselves on a stage in front of hundreds of people, we thought, oh, what is this? What are we doing here? So I talk about love, about friendship, about love. And the journalist didn't prepare anything. And so he made a big speech about, I'll tell you about love. And it is an unusual topic to talk like this, but I'll talk about love. And what I can share with you is I'll share with you who is my best friend in the world. And he was saying publicly, among men, we don't say to each other often that we love someone, right? You say that to your parents, to your children, but to another man, he says, you don't say that often. And don't worry, he's married, his grandfather, and it's pure. What I'm talking is very pure. And he said, I told my dad I love him. And he said, today there's someone in the room to whom I would like to say to him, I love him. So Eric, come. And he brought me on stage, and in front of everybody, he said, Eric, I want you to know how much I love you. And we hugged each other. I was very emotional. Everybody was, thinking, what is this? So it was not a speech. It was just, real love. And I never expected that. My efforts for many years with this soul was to find a way to really go beyond our difference of opinions, difference of sanskars. I mean, it was not an easy environment. It was as difficult as in some centers with clash of sanskars. It's not easy. And I worked with this soul for 20 years. So we know each other. But his, power, the strength of saying to in front of everyone, I love you. And you are probably the best friend I have in the world. To me, I looked at Baba right away. I said, Baba, thank you. Thank you. I never imagined that this is what you were doing in me. I didn't realize he was cleaning this whole heart so that this love could be there. And so I was sharing that in the original retreat. And for me, I really, really, I can say there's one thing I feel very, very happy about myself today. I made many mistakes in my Brahmin life, and there are many things I haven't completed, of course, today. But one thing I could say is I don't think there's a single person in my life today that really would generate negative feeling, honestly. Not even world leaders that really are challenging in what they're doing. No, I feel, I've learned. I called Moini Didi many times to ask her what to do, what to think. And she always guided me in such a beautiful way. And one day I was giving big complaint to Moni Didi. And I was, at the time I was center coordinator. And I was telling her, this soul has made this mistake, that mistake, that mistake, that mistake. And I made the whole list, And Didi was listening, 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 not a word. And at the end, she said, yeah, but and she pointed out a quality of that soul. She says, but that soul is very loyal to Baba. I said, excuse me? I just give you a list of 20 problems, and you tell me what? She's very what? What's the point? She didn't want to look at the 20 defects. She was just telling me she's very much like this. Have you noticed that? And to me, that is a big lesson. How she doesn't allow her mind to think and focus on the defects, but just underline the quality. So then I practice this with every soul. Every soul I didn't feel big love, I would ask myself, why I do not love that soul? Why is it? So, okay, I'll tell you now, and then I'll do the little exercise for you. So for me, I developed a technique, not a technique, but a recipe, I would say. And it really comes from Baba's Murlis. And it's really about power of love. With the idea that if I don't clean myself, love is not going to be real. Because Mani Didi always used to tell me, you can't force yourself to be loving. You are or you're not. It is in you. It's a quality in you. But there are blockages. There are things that are blocking it. So for me, whenever I feel a little something with someone, I go back to that recipe, and it's 5 ideas. And the first idea is for me to be interested in the other person, to get interested in the person. find out who is that soul. To be honest with you, on the way back from Peace Village, I was with a very, very, very dear brother that I love dearly. And I thought I knew him. I knew his story, but I started to ask him questions. So how was it again when he was like Adi, very young he was with Baba. He went to Madhuban when he was 12. He spent a month over there. He was with Atam Prakash. I said, tell me again your story. So I don't know if I'm a good journalist, but I interviewed him for 5 hours. We spoke he spoke almost for 5 hours, telling me his story, his life story. The road was like 5 minutes. When we reached Montreal, we were joking, saying, I think we should go back and come back to finish the story. But when you start to know someone a little bit, I don't tell you talk for 5 hours with someone, but we had 5 hours, so there was nothing else to do. But it was deep conversation, not just small talk. It was very deep conversation about his whole process of love for Baba, love for the family, challenging, having a family, children, everything. But knowing a soul is so important, just a little bit. If you don't get along with someone, take time to ask them, how many brothers and sisters do you have again? How are your parents? How was your youth? Just a little bit. And you will hear something that will make you see the person differently. Something you don't know about them will change many things. I can tell you so many stories, but we won't have time. The second point afterwards for me is, okay, what are the specialities of that soul? And I thoroughly I have my booklets, and I take the name of someone, and I say, I have to find 3 powerful qualities for that soul, real one, not just superficial, real one. And now I have to churn on those qualities. And I'm often, having a chance to share drishti with people on the stage. And so when I see those souls, I start having a blessing in my mind. So if somebody, I say, well, that soul is very courageous. Every time I see the soul, for a while, to just create the right feeling, I say, oh yeah, this is the most courageous soul who give courage to others so that they will maintain their own dignity for 21 births. Let's say I'm coming up with that thought. Then I memorize the blessing I give to someone, and I repeat it, and I repeat it, and I repeat it again and again, again and again. And every time I see the soul, I say, yeah, this soul is honesty, courage, strength. Okay, yeah, and that one was, oh yeah, that was love, cooperation, and this. Try this. Know the speciality of others, truly from your heart. Who has taught us that? The daddies. Every time there was an anniversary, Mama's Day, but Didi's Day, when they remembered Daddy Ratan Mohini, they knew the qualities of Daddy, isn't it? They were not improvising. They know their qualities deeply, and they've been repeating those qualities in their vision hundreds of times. Yeah, Chandramani, the lioness of Punjab. Okay, Baba gave them titles. They remember those titles. So my second aspect in that recipe is become expert in knowing the speciality of others. And the third part of the recipe for me was, what can I do to help? How can I help that soul? What can I give? What can I share? Maybe I just need to say nothing. This is the best help. Because otherwise, if I don't have that consciousness, how can I help? Unconsciously, I may have the awareness. What can I get from the soul? How can that soul fulfill my expectations? That's different. So my third point is always to tell myself, how can I help? Yeah, Or if I feel, oh, that soul is a little bit negative, okay, how can I help? So I don't look at the defect, I don't look at the negativity. How can I help? The fourth element is, how can I bring more spirituality in the relationship? Where is the weak point in the relationship on a spiritual level? Is there enough Baba between me and the other? Do I see the other as my sister, my brother? Do I see them as Baba's child? Today, Baba said, if you don't find any quality, well, just think, at least that soul has recognized Baba. And that soul is one out of multi-million. Just that will make you feel, wow, special soul. So how do I bring more spirituality in a relationship? How is my drishti? How is my vibration? So then I feel this is my fourth element. Check how much there's spirituality in that relationship. And the fifth element, which is the most important, do I create a feeling of belonging? This is really, for me, where you anchor love. Do I have that feeling of belonging? This is my sister. She belongs to Baba's family. And even if they're not BKs, even if they're anyone on the street, they are Baba's child. And sometimes I joke with Baba and I say, what do you see, Baba, in this one across the street? I see a crazy person, but what do you see? I see a lunatic. What do you see? And Baba always said, Eric, bache? No, ne, ne, ne. He said, this is my beloved child. What are you talking about? I know this one across the street. He's my child. Please have that respect. He is my child. And if I see that, I think I generate the feeling of belonging. You're my family. We're belonging to the same. Oh, I'm going too fast, maybe for translation, right? Maybe. Sorry, I'll slow down. Oh yeah, repeat the 5 points. Let's see, because I have 15 minutes more left, and I wanted to share with you something. The fifth, okay, the 5 quickly is be interested in the other person. See the quality. So, how to say, uplift the value. See the value of the person. See the quality. Third, how can I help? Fourth, how can I bring more spirituality in the relationship? And fifth, belonging. Create a feeling of belonging. And I find for me, this has helped me tremendously in the past many years to revise certain relationship. As soon as I feel between two with another soul, it goes a little bit cold, I come back with my 5 points. Honestly, that's what I do. And I try a little bit. Because otherwise, we can go back to old sanskaras. So let me share with you something very simple. And I hope you can see properly. So the power of love, for me, it's like Baba always says, check yourself. And I find these are like very good questions that I ask myself because this is the chart of love. If I'm going to be expert in love and honor Baba's love, then I always check this. My first thought is always, what is the percentage of my capacity to be an embodiment of love? And you will find every time you ask yourself the question, you will know quickly if you are 20% or 80%. It's very clear. What is the percentage of my capacity to be an embodiment of love? Second one is, what is the percentage of my capacity to maintain a loving relationship with Baba? And I could speak with you for hours about that because that's a big problem, right? Is that we have love for Baba, Baba always says 100% everyone, right? But then it fluctuates, and then we forget Baba. And that's why I find that whenever I do something, I always ask myself, do I want to do something with Baba? Do I want to do it for him? Do I want to do it on his behalf? Or do I want to let Baba do it through me? So these are the ideas that I usually think about. Do I want to do it with Baba? Do I want to do it for him? Do I want to do it on his behalf? Or do I want to let Baba do it through me? And sometimes it's a combination of those two. But try, really, really try. It's a very nice exercise. Before doing something, you tell Baba, hey, my dear Baba, come on, what do we do? Do we give the course together, or do you give it through me? Or do I give it for you? You're too tired. You want me to give it for you? Okay, I'll do it for you. You can rest. Go and accept Bog somewhere in India. They must be offering Bog now. So just go and enjoy. I'll do the course for you. And you will find that if you do something for Baba, really, you'll think of him all the time. Now I'm doing something because Moini Didi had a thought. I keep remembering Moini Didi a little bit today because, there was that thought. So capacity to maintain a loving relationship with Baba is very, very interesting. And then the same thing, percentage of capacity to maintain a loving relationship with myself. And then, of course, with others. I'm going a little bit fast, I'm sorry, but I want to finish before meditation at 7. But I like to think this way, to think capacity, because I know Moini Didi always says, this is what you have to increase. So I figure out I am loving, no doubt, I am loving, but what's the capacity? And I need to increase that capacity. And the final question on the chart of love is, what's my capacity to use love as a tool for change, but also to overcome obstacles in relationships? How much did I try love in changing relationships? So if you missed those, I think they will be online. You can check them. And then finally, I'll just give you 3 or 4 points to churn. And again, we don't have time, but it's something worth thinking about. And this is the interesting one. When is love becoming a power? And my understanding at the moment is, I don't know. And I shouldn't know. Baba is using me, maybe. And for me, it's in the longevity. It's like you plant a seed, but you don't expect the fruit right away. You understand you just planted a seed, and you trust that will be the work of the seed to do its own work. And for me, real power of love, and that's what I feel in the daddies, they were not trying to be loving. I'm sure that I hope that Kumarka didn't look at me thinking, oh my goodness, Baba, did you see this one? What are we going to do? Or let me try to love this poor brother. He looks so into cologne and fashion and body consciousness. I hope she didn't think that way. I think she just gave love without knowing it. And I think for me to still be in Gyan today after 40 years, I would say yes, it is the power of love of Dadiji. Of course, Baba, all the seniors, but Dadiji did plant that seed. And this is the power, is that 40 years later, it's still vibrant in me. So we don't know when it becomes a power. So what are the main obstacles in my capacity of being loving, loveful, and love lean? You can churn on that for hours. It's a beautiful topic. For me, my answer was ego, selfishness, self-centeredness, self-needs, all the self that are wrong. And I needed to develop self-respect, self-esteem, self-love, etc. So, it really feels that I need to know why am I not able to increase that capacity? What are the blockages? And maybe it's different for everyone. Maybe we're not all the same. But to me, the day I realized I was still a little bit selfish, I really felt, wow, okay, so how do I change that? And then all the Merleys came about self-respect, 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 self-respect. And today's Merle, self-respect, self-respect, self-respect. So I got it. This is where I cannot hammer ego with the hammer of guilt and pain. I have to bring the flower of self-respect, isn't it? So, and the last one that I always feel very, very powerful is just to really ask myself, am I really an embodiment of love? And how do I become an embodiment of love? So, how do I bring love into action? What does it mean? And we had a conversation with Sister Gayatri, and she was sharing how respect or love or soul consciousness could take a very, very, very different form than what we expect. It's not always, oh, I love you and I hug you. No, I know I joke with Didi often, and she says love could have so many other forms. So I think of myself, how do I become a churning power? How do I become embodiment of love? I'll just finish with a funny story. Then many of you may have heard it, but that was to me also very much the power of love. And it's a beautiful story that I experienced. I think it was about 30 years ago now. Over 30 years ago, I was in Western Canada. And I was very new as a producer, television producer. And they sent me to work with me, a journalist that was very talented, but a terrible demon, a very, very difficult person, very difficult personality. Nobody wanted to work with him. And at the headquarters of the company, they didn't know what to do with this guy. So they felt, oh, let us send him with the Buddhist in Edmonton. And if the Buddhist doesn't handle it, that's it. That will be his last chance. So when I heard that, I called my boss and I said, I'm not really Buddhist. He said, no, but same, your meditation, whatever you do. That was 30 years ago. They thought I was Buddhist. I said, no, I'm not Buddhist. But no one could pronounce Brahma Kumaris at the time. So Buddhist was simple. So they sent me this journalist, and I will make it very short, but he was really, really crazy. He was very talented. I never saw somebody writing so beautifully. He was, yeah, there was beautiful thing in him, but his character, oh my goodness, was very difficult. And I have to say, it was 30 years ago, he was driving me crazy. And I knew, they told me in Montreal, they told me, Eric, you just lift the finger and that's it. We remove him, Om Shanti, bye-bye. Don't suffer with this guy. It's okay. And I told this guy when he started being crazy, I said, if I say one word, you go back to Montreal and your career is over. So you have to behave, bad boy, you have to behave. But for me was, I have to pass my exam. I have to become loving, peaceful. I should not be upset. I should never have a waste thought. I had only waste thought. I should never get angry. I was getting really nervous. So anyway, we worked together for a few months. And I have to admit, I was becoming really, really incapable. I couldn't handle it. It was too much. He was difficult. He was smoking all the time, swearing. I couldn't handle it. I said, Baba, I don't know. I'm going to fail my exam. And one night we were working all by ourselves in the building. Everything was closed. It was close to midnight. We were in a little room and we had to complete the structure of the documentary that I had to edit the next day. And we were arguing badly, like really like, no, I don't agree. No, you shouldn't do this. And I was trying to be yogi, but smoke was coming out from my ears, my eyes. I couldn't handle it anymore. And I honestly, I hope Didi now is not listening. But I told the brother, I said, I said, I'm sorry, we stop here. This is it. I'm sorry, but I can't anymore. And I told the person, I said, literally, I said, there are only two options now. I take you like this and I put your head through the wall, and I swear you're going to go through at least two walls before you stop. Or I don't do that, and I call Montreal tomorrow and Om Shanti. I said, I can't anymore. I'm sorry, but I tried. Good night. That's over. And we both knew we failed badly. And I really felt, oh my goodness, I'm going to have Dharamraj tomorrow morning at Tamil Vela. This is not going to be nice. You fail your exam. And he knew I was not joking. That was it. I was physically unable to handle it. So he went to his office. I went to mine. We turned off the lights. We're trying to avoid each other, but we ended up both together in front of the elevator. And he, was a little bit embarrassed. I was a little bit embarrassed. He was walking, and I told him he was having his briefcase. And I said, drop your briefcase. So at that time, he felt Eric is going to punch me. He really felt, uh-oh, Eric is going to really punch me now. And I don't know why I said that. I think Baba must have helped. I don't know. But I said, drop your briefcase. And I went towards him, and he was like, he's going to hit me. And I didn't think. I just took him in my arms. I just took him in my arms. And I squeezed him really, really hard. And I told him, his name was Bertrand. And I said, Bertrand, I love you. And I keep repeating it, I love you. I love you. And we both went into tears. He started crying like a baby. And I said, you're a beautiful soul, and I love you. And I keep repeating this without thinking, what are you doing, Eric? This is work. This is midnight. You're hugging a man in the hallway. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. We heard suddenly, bing, the door of the elevator. And so the elevator opened, and we both felt, oops. Tomorrow in the newspaper, two men in the office, doesn't look very spiritual. And we both felt, oops. We're both crying, hugging each other. And the elevator door opened. And we turned around, and it was empty. So maybe the janitor must have pushed the button. We both burst into laughter. Like nervous laughter. We laughed and laughed. And then we hugged each other again. And I told him, Bertrand, never push me again like this. Don't push me anymore like this. And we became best friends in the world. We never argued ever again. We went to the gym. He was alcoholic. I took him to the gym. I helped him. He came to the center. We became very, very close friends. We found a way to work together. He would be on the sidewalk smoking, and I was on the window watching him, and we're talking on the phone. I say, you see, I'm very happy. You can smoke as much as you want. I'm in the office, and we can work. I love you. And when I left Alberta, they did a big party, to say goodbye. And he wrote me a letter. I still have that letter. It's the most beautiful letter any human being ever wrote me in my life, ever. Baba's Murli cannot be matched, but his letter is incredible. And I always felt, at the time, I didn't know at the time, but today I would say, yes, that was the power of love. And that for me was the power of God's love, because I didn't have the capacity. I didn't have the capacity, but I had yoga. I could connect to Baba. And I think by thinking of Baba, oh, I'm failing, I was invoking Baba, saying, please help me, please help me. And I think when I went in his arms, I never knew, is it me saying, I love you? Or was it Baba telling him, my child, I love you? Because that was powerful love. And forever, this person, he's passed away now, but that was, I think, for me, power of love. So I hope it can inspire you or give you enthusiasm for becoming the embodiment of today's Murli. So whatever I said, maybe it's a little bit different pieces, but Baba may say it more beautifully. So if you read Baba's Murli again from this morning, I think that's the same thing. Going into that deep respect for the self, but really, really having faith that if I love everyone, yeah, you feel love coming back to you a lot. So I'm still working at it. I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I feel, at least in that department, Baba helped me to do good. And thanks to our senior, really, the daddies and the didis, for making us, for coping with us, because they saw us, they saw me in my many stage, but they never fluctuated in their love for us. So, okay, I know many Didi will want to have that half-hour meditation. She has been doing it so powerfully. My apologies to the translators and big thank you from the heart. I'm still speaking slower than normal, so imagine, but I'm trying to not to go too fast. But thank you, Avyakti Parivar, for inviting me. And Adi, keep growing, my friend. We are watching the flower growing. You are our inspiration.
Thank you, Brother
So a
Eric.
big Om Shanti to all of you, really from the bottom of my heart. And you know how much I have love for the whole Brahmin family, which is such a unique family. So all my love to each one of you individually. And yeah, we'll be experiencing more moments like this together. And thank you very much, our dear Bhumiji, for making this happening. So thank you, everyone. And now I'm looking at your face and I'm going to get emotional. I'm seeing you all now. Oh, wonderful. Seeing all your faces. So Adi, you have competition. I can see a lot of nice flowers there too. So careful. Many flowers in a Zoom vase. The vase of Zoom has beautiful flowers. So thank you, everyone.
Brother Eric, thank you
Om
for
Shanti.
teaching us how to love and the recipe for love so you can share this recipe with everyone. And so with your many stories and lots of sharing from you, now we will conclude the session and remember Baba.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of love. Om Shanti. Bye, Amrit. I love this brother too. Saw him in Peace Village. Love everyone. Happy to see you.
पाकर प्यार प्रभु का हम भी प्यारे हो गए पाकर प्यार प्रभु का हम भी प्यारे हो गए अकेले हम कभी अब तुम्हारे हो गए पाकर प्यार प्रभु का हम भी प्यारे हो गए
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Eric Bhai.
Om
Shanti, thank you,
everyone.
brother.
Om
Oh,
Shanti.
Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Eric. Bye.
Thank you, Brother Eric.
Shanti.
Wonderful class.
Thank
God
you.
bless
Shanti, Eric,
you,
brother.
Eric Bhai. Thank you so much.
Bye, Om Shanti.
Beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful,
Thank
beautiful.
Yes. Thank you, brother.
Namaste, Brother Eric. Shat Shat Siranam. Shat Sukriya. Shakti. Shanti. Shanti.